watching Let's Chat.
Good morning and welcome back to Let's Chat. Today is Wednesday. It is the 3rd day of March and we're glad to have you here with us. Our money man, Chris Hopkins, continuing our discussion about matters pertaining to our wallets. Russia, the biggest country in the world by landmass size. How does that equate into what their economy is? In other words, how big is their economy overall?
Much smaller than it used to be.
Yeah.
The Russian economy is the 11th largest economy in the world, but it's a fraction. It's about, let's say per capita, their GDP is $10,000 per head. Ours is $65,000 per head. So, I mean, they're tiny, less than 2% of global GDP, and we're about 20%.
That does kind of help put it in perspective.
It does.
Hey, as we mentioned a few moments ago, the Federal Reserve has said, without doubt, we are raising interest rates, and we're doing it this month. In a nutshell, exactly what is the Fed raising interest rates and how does that affect us?
Well, certainly. Well, it's going to, well, two answers to that. First, the easy one is everything, cost of borrowing is going to go up. So if you have any kind of a variable rate loan, the interest rates on that are going to go up. Mortgage rates are going to increase as a result of that. Of course, as the benchmark Fed rate goes up, all the other rates key off of that. And so mortgage rates are going to increase. Over time, if we get 2 or 3 or even 4 Fed hikes by the end of the year, that means mortgage rates could be back in the 5.5% range instead of down in 3 3/4 range.
How would that play 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, down the road?
Well, I'm still of the opinion that this interest rate rise and this inflation spike is relatively temporary. It may be another year now, given what goes on in Ukraine, but ultimately the global forces, there's so much liquidity in the globe that the trend is lower interest rates and lower inflation. So I think we've got a rocky road. We've got a little bump in the road here. Rates are going to rise. Student loan debt is going to increase. The cost of servicing that. It already has
the ripple effect.
Absolutely. But relatively temporary. Look 2 years down the road, I think we're kind of back, not quite as low as we've been because those were historic lows, but back down in a normal range. Two of
the Russian oligarchs, which is a fancy word for old man with way too much money, and there are a bunch of those in Russia. 2 of those, at least, have asked Putin to withdraw. One of them has even said he needs to get out of office altogether.
Yep.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think that's an encouraging sign, and I've actually thought that that's going to be the next step. Is we've slapped all these sanctions on the Russian economy, but the next step is going to be to confiscate assets of these oligarchs who have taken, Russia's basically a kleptocracy, and this small group of rich oligarchs that support Putin, if we start confiscating their fancy condos in London and their yachts and their private jets, that applies pressure directly on Putin, not to mention the fact we're going to see, I think, a big increase in demonstrations in Russian cities as the pinch of these sanctions bites harder.
It's been said that these oligarchs are essentially using Russia as their own personal ATM machine.
Absolutely.
Yet some video you'll see here momentarily has got people like us standing in line at ATMs trying to get their money out. And I don't mean 1 or 2, I mean there's dozens upon dozens. Do you think we're close to this happening here, or do you think America's strongest allies are in danger of this happening?
No, I really don't. I really don't think we're at any danger of that. I mean, this is the kind of thing we saw during the Great Depression, and that's the whole Federal Reserve System was basically created to obviate that. So there's zero chance of that happening here. Obviously, it's going to happen in Ukraine. It's happening in Russia. Probably the nation that's in the biggest economic jeopardy is Germany.
Right.
So we have to give them kudos for the courage they've shown, given their dependence on Russian oil and gas. But even in Germany, we're not going to see bank failures like we're going to see in Russia.
In a nutshell, our collective thinking is, and I'm just paraphrasing Chris's words, that Russia badly wants Germany. Badly wants Germany. China badly wants Taiwan, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and again, how it will be affecting us here in the United States. A lot of people already living paycheck to paycheck, and this is not going to help out their situation.
No, it's going to bite us all in the wallet.
Sure.
Temporary.
Chris Hopkins, always good to see you, and we certainly hope you will come back and share your information from your money expert point of view. We'll leave it like that. Get in touch with Chris Hopkins if you'd like. Here is how you can do just that. Your email address is?
Chris Hopkins, TN,
right.
Tennessee at gmail.com.
Chris Hopkins, TN at gmail.com. We got to run. We'll see you back here at noon and tomorrow morning at 10 for Let's Chat.